Mia, and I wanted to create this video to kind of tell a story that happened to me just recently. Um, it's kind of crazy, and I thought this would be a great idea for my first video. So let's just jump right into it. It was Memorial Day weekend, and we were all going to go camping. It's like our little tradition. My dad and I always pull out a camper and we go to this campsite that's about like 2 hours away from where we live. And so I, being the good little girl that I was like, oh, you guys can go on ahead. I'll meet you there and I'll stay in school Friday instead of going up with them Thursday. So I got into my car Friday, and my mom told me to take the Butte Falls way instead of going through the major city and over. Now, I have never been the Butte Falls way. I only know to go take the city and cut over, but it saves you 30 minutes if you go straight through this forest road almost, and it's really windy, and there's just a tiny little town like in the center. It's like population probably 100 in Butte Falls. And so I was like, okay, 30 minutes, that's good time. I won't go through the big city. And so I typed it into my little GPS, and I was ready to go. Now, when I left my house, my phone was at 70%. I had a full tank of gas. I was all set, ready to go. So I'm driving, and it comes time to take the Butte Falls turn. So I take it. Everything's going good. My GPS is going to route me right there. Playing music through my Bluetooth. I'm jamming out, having a good time. Everything's going great. Now, as I go through Butte Falls, I'm I've made it the majority of my trip, but I have about 30 to 40 minutes left, and I am going through Butte Falls, and I look at my phone, and it's at 10%. So I'm like, ooh, wow. Going through the woods, not having that great of cell service really ate my battery. So I decided to take a little note card, because I have like little flashcards in my car, and I'm sitting there writing down what turns I need to take while I'm driving. I do not recommend that, but I was in a dire need situation. So I was like, I do not want to get lost, out in the middle of the woods, because there is no one going to find me. And so I was so concerned that my GPS, my phone would die, and I wouldn't know what turn to take. So I wrote down all my little, this. So then I went through Butte Falls, and I'm driving again, and my phone tells me to take a right. Now, the road that it wants me to turn down it has a giant dead end sign. So I'm like, no, I don't want to go down there. What are you doing, GPS? But then I look at my phone, and now it's at 3%. And I'm like, I'm so scared that if it reroutes me, it's going to die, and then I won't know where to turn. And all I have are these flashcards, with my 4 turns that I need to take. So I was like, okay, it's going to eat all of my battery, and then I'll be screwed because I don't have a car charger, me. And so I was like, okay, you know what? It says I'm only taking this gravel road that says dead end for a mile, and then I'm turning onto another road for 2 miles. So I was like, okay, you can do gravel road for 3 miles. We're okay. It's Gucci. We're all right, okay? So I'm driving down this gravel road, and then I see the turn to the other road that I'm supposed to take. And I'm like, okay. GPS was right, and I was like, okay, everything's working out. I'm okay. This is okay. and I'm driving, and it's now not even a gravel 2-lane road. It's just like a ditch bank and 2 tire tracks, pretty much. Like, there was just like marsh on either side, and then the top, you had your 2 little tire tracks. And I'm like, okay, you know, I can do this. And so I'm driving down, and then there's literally, it just drops, and there's a stream in the road. And I'm like, well, I can't drive through that. So I'm like, schnitzel, I just gotta back my way out of this and turn around. So I'm looking back, backing up for this whole long road that I, you know, drove. And then I'm so close to getting back onto this gravel road, and my stinking right side tire goes off this little ditch bank thing. And on the side there's big boulders. So it's sitting on one of the boulders. And I try to pull forward. Well, it doesn't want to go forward because, you know, it's stuck on this boulder. So I'm like, okay, maybe if I reverse it, you know, I can get off the boulder. So I try to reverse it. I get myself deeper stuck. And until I'm just doing it until the car is completely sideways. You know, I have 2 tires hanging out in the air. It was not fun. And it was so sideways that the seatbelt locked because my car thought I got in an accident. And so I'm like, okay, you know, freaking out. I'm kind of starting to cry, I'll admit. And I call my mom. And I say, you know, hi, Mom. I got my car stuck. I don't think I can get it. I need a truck to come pull me out. I'm kind of like high centered on some boulders right now, and I don't really know where I am. And she's like, oh my gosh, honey, you know, send me your location. And then my phone dies. So I'm out in the middle of the woods with no phone and no car and no way to get help. So my survival instincts start kicking in. I'm like, okay, you're gonna make it out of this. We're gonna find, you know, help. We're gonna get ourselves out of this on our own. We don't need, you know, I'm gonna find someone to help me. So thank gosh I have Mace on my keys. And I took the Mace. I locked my car, you know, because it's going to get stolen out in the middle of the woods, you know. You know, a bear and his family's going to drive off with it. And I got my Mace, and I start walking down this gravel road. Now, in the back of my head, I was like, okay, at the beginning of the gravel road, I saw a house. So I will just... And it was like a shady looking house, you know. It's out in Butte Falls. It was just a tiny little house, secluded out in the middle of the woods. And I was like, okay, you know, there was smoke coming from their fireplace, so they have to be home, you know. And so I grabbed my Mace, and I was like, okay, I'll just walk down this road. You know, it was about a mile. And I'm walking, and I was so upset because I had just watched Split that day. Like, I just got done watching Split, and I'm like, I am gonna get kidnapped right now. Like, I'm gonna knock on this guy's door and explain my situation, how I have no phone and I'm stuck in the middle of the woods, and they're just gonna open the door and take me, and I'm never gonna see anyone again. And that just upset me so much. I was crying, and I was honestly bawling my eyes out, and I was just kind of distraught. And I was like, you know, I gotta pull myself together. And I was walking down the road, and I literally was out loud. I was like, please, Jesus, you know, just help me to get out of this. Please, just, you know, save me. And then an Audi comes down this road. Like a really, really sports car Audi. And I'm like, oh my gosh, praise the Lord, you know. It's like, thank you for saving me from walking farther and trying to go to that ghetto house. You know, I'm just going to try to stop. Maybe it's another dumb tourist trying to take this road. So I stood in the middle of the road so he'd stop for me. And the guy rolled down his window. He was like a bald dude, and he was really like muscular and stuff. Like he was probably like older 30s. And he rolled down the window, and he had a little girl in his car too. So I was like, okay, you know, it's better. And I was trying to get the words out, but again, I was crying. I was very upset. And I was like, sir, do you have a truck? You know, I got my car stuck over there, and I don't have a phone. I can't call anyone. I'm kind of just, you know, helpless. And so he's like, okay, well, my cell phone doesn't really work because it's out in the middle of nowhere. He's like, it's really touchy, so would you mind coming to my house with me to go, you know, I have a landline there.